So the book I'm gonna start today is 12 Rules for Life, and it says an antidote to chaos. Jordan B. Peterson, the most influential public intellectual in the Western world right now. New York Times. So I'm gonna read the contents first, forward, overture, whatever. I actually don't like reading those, so I'm gonna skip it. And then we're gonna jump to rule number 1. I mean, do they even have significance? I'm not sure, actually. Okay, so rule number 1 says stand up straight with your shoulders back. Okay. Lobsters and territory. If you're like most people, you don't often think about lobsters unless you're eating one. However, these interesting and delicious crustaceans are very much worth considering. Their nervous systems are comparatively simple, with large, easily observable neurons, the magic cells of the brain. Because of this, scientists have been able to map the neural circuitry of lobsters very accurately. This has helped us understand the structure and function of the brain and behavior of more complex animals, including human beings. Lobsters have more in common with you than you might think, particularly when you're feeling crabby. Haha. Lobsters live on the ocean floor. They need a home base down there, a range within which they hunt for prey and scavenge around for stray edible bits and pieces of whatever rains down from the continual chaos of carnage and days far above. They want somewhere secure, where the hunting and the gathering is good. They want a home. This can present a problem, since there are many lobsters. What if two of them occupy the same territory, at the bottom of the ocean, at the same time, and both want to live there? What if there are hundreds of lobsters, all trying to make a living and raise a family in the same crowded patch of sand and refuse? Other creatures have this problem too. When songbirds come north in the spring, for example, they engage in ferocious territorial disputes. The songs they sing, so peaceful and beautiful to human ears, are siren calls and cries of domination. A brilliantly musical bird is a small warrior proclaiming his sovereignty. Take in the wren, for example, a small fisty insect-eating songbird common in North America. A newly arrived wren wants a sheltered place to build a nest, away from the wind and rain. He wants it close to food and attractive to potential mates. He also wants to convince competitors for that space to keep their distance. Birds and territory. My dad and I designed a house for a wren family when I was 10 years old. It looked like a Conestoga wagon and had a front entrance about the size of a quarter. This made it good. This made it a good house for wrens, who were tiny, and not so good for other larger birds who couldn't get in. My elderly neighbor had a birdhouse too, which we built for her at the same time. From an old rubber boot, it had an opening large enough for a bird the size of a robin. She was looking forward to the day it was occupied. A wren soon discovered our birdhouse and made himself at home there. We could hear his lengthy trilling song repeated over and over during the early spring. Once it built his nest in the covered wagon, however, I'm actually not that good like with punctuations, whatever, so it kind of gets me confused. Let's continue, anyways. However, our new avian tenant started carrying small sticks to our neighbors. Where am I? Yeah, to our neighbor's nearby boots. He packed it so full that no other bird, large or small, could possibly get in. Our neighbor was not pleased by this preemptive strike, but there was nothing to be done about it. "If we take it down," said my dad, "clean it up and put it back in the tree, the rain will just pack it full of sticks again." Rains are small and they're cute, but they're merciless. I had broken my leg skiing the previous winter. First time down the hill, and had received some money from a school insurance policy designed to reward unfortunate, clumsy children. I purchased a cassette recorder, a high-tech novelty at the time, with the proceeds. My dad suggested that I sit on the back lawn, record the Wren song, play it back, and watch what happened. So, I went out into the bright spring sunlight and tapped a few minutes of the rain laying furious claim to his territory with song. Then I let him hear his own voice. That little bird, 1/3 the size of a sparrow, began to dive bomb me and my cassette recorder, swooping back and forth, inches from the speaker. We saw a lot of that sort of behavior, even in the absence of the tape recorder. If a larger bird ever dared to sit and rest in any of the trees near our birdhouse, there was a good chance he would get knocked off his perch by a kamikaze, whatever that is, wren. Now, wrens and lobsters are very different. Lobsters do not fly, sing, or perch in trees. Wrens have feathers, not hard shells. Wrens can breathe underwater and are seldom served with butter. However, they are also similar in important ways. Both are obsessed with status and position. For example, like a great many creatures, the Norwegian zoologist and comparative psychologist Thorleif Skjelderup-Ebe observed Thorleif Skjelderup-Ebe observed back in 1921 that even common barnyard chickens establish a pecking order. The determination of who's who in the chicken world has important implications for each individual's bird's survival. Particularly in times of scarcity, the birds that always have priority access to whatever food is sprinkled out in the yard in the morning are the celebrity chickens. After them come the second stringers, the hangers on, and wannabes. Then the third rate chickens have their turn, and so on down to the bedraggled, partially feathered, and badly pecked wretches who occupy the lowest untouchable stratum of the chicken hierarchy. Is this thing talking about humans? What? The birds that always have priority access to whatever food is sprinkled out in the morning are the celebrity chickens. Celebrity chickens. After them come the second stringers, the hangers on, and wannabes. Second stringers, hangers on, and wannabes. Then the third rate chickens have their turns on down the untouchable stand of the chicken hierarchy. Okay, anyways. Chickens, like suburbanites, live communally. Songbirds such as wrens do not, but they still inhabit a dominance hierarchy. It's just spread out over more territory. The williest, strongest, healthiest, and most fortunate birds occupy prime territory and defend it. Because of this, they are more likely to attract high-quality mates and to hatch chicks who survive and thrive. Protection from wind, rain, and predators, as well as easy access to superior food, makes for a much less stressed existence. Territory matters, and there is a little difference between territorial rights and social status. It is often a matter of life and death. If a contagious avian disease sweeps through a neighborhood of well-satisfied songbirds, it is the least dominant and most stressed birds, occupying the lowest rungs of the bird world, who are most likely to sicken and die. This is equally true of human neighborhoods. When bird flu viruses and other illness sweep across the planet, I knew it! They're talking about humans too. Sweep across the planet, the poor and stressed always die first, and in greater numbers. They're also much more susceptible to non-infectious diseases such as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. When the aristocracy catch a cold, as it is said, the working class dies of pneumonia because territory matters, and because the best locals are always in short supply, territory seeking among animals produces conflict. Conflict in turn produces another problem, which is how to win or lose without the disagreeing parties incurring too great a cost. This latter point is particularly important. Imagine that two birds engage in a squabble about a desirable nesting area. The interruption can easily degenerate into outright physical combat. Under such circumstances, one bird, usually the largest, will eventually win, but even the victory may be hurt by the fight. But even the victor, okay, not the victory, but even the victor may be hurt by the fight. That means a third bird, an undamaged, canny bystander, can move in opportunistically and defeat the now crippled victor. That is not at all a good deal for the first two birds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my god. Like, oh my god. We have 20 pets ahead. That's, oh my god. That's a lot. We have to start small. What? So, I'm sorry guys, but I'm not gonna continue with this book. I mean, this is my first time reading a book. Not actually the first, but still. I want to be consistent, so I don't want to pursue something that will make it hard for me to continue. So, I'm just gonna pick another book and then continue with it. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop reading this book. I'm gonna come back for it, okay? Oh, I found a good one.